Hey, sorry, stuff is different because I'm trying a different kind of way of streaming. Uh, Hopefully, it's better for people who can't make Twitch for whatever reason. So, this is what I have in mind for today. The idea is that it will be something with Fontaine. So, Fontaine is a tool that basically reduces cumulative layout shift. So you can do stuff like this. Add a custom web font. Oh, this is the this is not the Next module, although it powers a Next module. But this is actually cross-platform, so it can be used anywhere. It can be used in Astro. It can be used in Next.js. It can be used in Angular. Lots of examples of how that works. But basically, so Fontaine will basically add some CSS to reduce some layout shift. And there are a couple of things that we need to fix. The first thing is, Fontaine again, please. The first thing is a bug that's been reported by a couple of people, and I now need to fix it. So actually the bug might be on the next module, but it needs to be fixed too. So we have a bug whereby users aren't able to customize the font that is overridden. Yes, something like Next font is planned. There is an RFC coming out soon, so you will see that soon. Okay, I think this should be quite a quick fix. That's my hope. So we're also going to clone Next module's Fontaine. And oh dear, voice problem. Okay, it was just my voice. It was the problem. Okay, so Fontaine module. We'll open that to start with. Okay. Hey, pizza. Good to see you. And I didn't say hello to everybody, Mehmet and Xander. Yeah, we've got chat on stream. That is it's a great module. But we want to bring a lot of the enhancements and features that it has to more than just Google Fonts, which is why the Next fonts as a concept. Okay, so what are we doing? We are wanting to see if we can reproduce the issue here, and ideally reproduce it in a test so we can make sure that this is. Okay, so this is a very basic test. I just want to make sure that the right font is inlined in here. So we should be able to make a configuration change and just see that something changes. So what we want here is, let's say that, actually we do have Zapfino, Impact, and Georgia. Let's just test here. Zapfino, Georgia. And then that seems right, actually. Okay, so what's the problem? I'm just assuming that there's an issue. This is strange. Okay, what they want exactly isn't, so that's not precisely. Okay, let me go to the underlying Fontaine. Oh, this is also an old version of Fontaine, which may be the issue. Let's go up. Let's open Fontaine itself. Oh, that's nice. Check out. Cool. This is exactly the plan, actually. But yeah, this is exactly the plan. But I mean, I'm glad you built the module, the library. So we have an in progress Nuxi CLI, which should be coming out quite soon. And Puya's been working hard on that. But this will be pretty cool when it comes. And the aim is exactly this kind of thing. So it will be possible to sort of modify your Nuxt config and just add a module. But if it's not yet built, then it seems like you have already got it up and ready. So if I ran that just out of curiosity, I'll make a new Nuxt project. And let's go there. You're going to take me there. Oh, it's going for it, isn't it? Okay. So here we are. This is the source file, and we've got a test. We have got an end-to-end specification here. We'll need to install our dependencies too. What's going on? Yeah, okay. So basically we have our fallbacks, and they seem to be working fine, right? So we have got Arial, and that end-to-end is running with this vite config where we basically specify the fallbacks. Well, we just also need to test that it works specifically if I specify a font family. So we should be able to do something like this. We should have some more options here. Let's see. Oh, I see. I think we expose this in the next module, and maybe it allows more configuration. Sorry, oh, for goodness sake, that's taking ages. Okay, so here we are. We've got Fontaine set up. And we basically should have some overrides. It's just the name. I think I might have to go back to the actual. Okay. The options we give are CSS fallbacks, and we allow configuring the name of it. But actually this is quite limited in terms of what it does, I think. It may be that we need to do this in the next module. That may be what it is. And I told someone recently that this supported it, and clearly it doesn't. It doesn't have the option in Fontaine on its own. Thank you. Okay, so we've got the project. So let's try. So what was it? Nuxt add Nuxt.js Fontaine. Let's try that. Oh, maybe I just run Nuxt add. I'll just try running it on its own to start with. Move it. Oh, cool. Which modules would you like to install? So nice, that's nice. That's very cool. Okay, so if I press enter, I'm guessing it is going to install Fontaine. Beautiful, let's check. Oops, I think I didn't select anything. I just pressed enter. Okay, let's try that again. So that, and say we also add Google Fonts. Okay, nice. Okay, that's what it is. You need to add a sort of select on enter for people like me who just press enter when they find the module they want. Now, I wonder if it's using PNPM in the background or whether it is... Cool. So it knows what I have. Right. So here, right, our fallbacks. So we have, there's this Blink Mac System font, and that is being used for Poppins and Roboto. And Poppins and Roboto are being configured here, or not being configured. Okay, I guess maybe this is what the issue is. So we have impact. Sorry, so basically we have impact. So we've got our that's got a custom override name. If I dropped it, if I just said Roboto has got impact, what's that going to be do? No, vtest run. Oh. Oh. Ah, do I see it? Yes, I was looking at the wrong screen though. But I should see it. Yes. Yes. I do see all of your chats. I was looking at the wrong screen. Okay. But what I don't want to see is my own face. If there was a way to disable that and just see the chat screen, surely there is. Okay. Pop this out, please. There we go. Yes, now I can just see the chat. That's perfect. Okay, so having changed it, I'm now getting impact, but it's still generating the second one. Okay, I think the issue is here that it needs to look it up. So I'm getting Roboto override, but I'm also getting a second Roboto override being generated, I think. I think that's the issue. Okay, so this should be an easy fix. So what we want to do here is adjust our transform, I think. Or we're just using the transform. It seems like this is a global fallback. This can't be right. We do support it on a per font basis, right? Why did I think we did? A PNPM, by the way, is normally very fast. It's just my computer. Yes, it should be. You can specify a URL to a font or a path, as long as it and most fonts it already knows about. Like everything on Google Fonts, it doesn't even need a path to it; just can guess it from the name and generate the metrics. So it depends on the font that you do. Thank you, username. I'm glad to be there. Okay. I hear there are things that I need to worry about Twitch, so that's why. Let's see. Oh, I was connecting, right? Yeah. Open. I want to have both open, yeah. So let me see. What I want to be able to do is generate something. Hey, Florent. Is generate something that works. Yeah. Options fallbacks. That's right. So every time we generate the font face. And so we need to figure out which one. So fallback name. Generate fallback name. That's fine. Do we have a default? Is that a default one? Generate fallback name is basically that. And that's not the bit that's the issue, right? Okay, I think there are two things that we want to do, that features that are clearly missing here. So one, we want to be able to support customizing results per font. So it needs to be able to support like fallback fonts, and it needs to respect the configuration. So here in the if I switch to the module, the module allows you to configure per font a sort of family, source, override name, fallbacks, and root, like per font. So why is that not being respected? So we've got for each font. Okay, this is done in the. Okay, this generates the font face overall, in addition to everything else. And we basically need to skip generating more font face. So this is fine. This is probably fine. This will probably do it. So what we would want is, I think we pass this CSS in somehow. What is the CSS? Where is the CSS used? Right. Okay, the CSS is used here, and what it does is it inlines it. Okay, so all that we're talking about in terms of the fallback is what is inlined. So is anything else inlined? Yes. Right. Okay, so the code here, what it does, and it's been far too long since I've looked at this, clearly. What the code does is it generates some CSS rules in the next module. It generates some CSS rules based on what you've provided. And then it also adds to that any additional CSS rules that are produced by the transform. The fontaine transform. So fontaine basically is able to generate more. So it takes in this this context object, the CSS, and the CSS context, every time there's anything transformed, is added to it, and then back in the module we can use that to add it to the module. So basically we could have a way of skipping adding additional CSS. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. And as long as we have got already the font generated of the same fallback name, I think we can safely skip it. That allows the user to configure it. So basically, because the issue isn't that it can't be configured, the issue is that it is being configured and then overridden by a subsequent definition. So what we want is for Fontaine itself to have a skip option. So something like skip font family. Hey, Biscoitus. And Darren, hi. Okay, skip a font family generation. And basically what we can do is, again, provide a callback. So if we're wanting to skip the generation, the thing that we want to skip is the generation of the font face. So, and I think we can skip it a little bit early on. So if options skip font family generation family, then we continue. And we want to ensure that this always exists, so we're going to normalize it out. So equals options skip or never, basically. Well, next auth. So basically, we have lots of options right at the moment. So basically, Sidebase have done phenomenal work in producing next auth. So it means that you can actually hook into the next auth and auth.js to use all of their drivers, which is lots and lots and lots of drivers. And then there are other options too. So I even just earlier this week, I think, built an integration in Nuxt for Henko, which is an open source authentication platform which supports passkeys. And there are lots of others as well. So Sebastian recently did a demo where he showed off different kinds of authentication. So basically, there's a lot out there. So I don't think we're missing it right at the moment. There is work being done again by Puya on what's it called? On an authentication layer for Nuxt. But the authentication layer for Nuxt is more something that any of these could use. Things like authentication middleware and a sort of way of things being authenticated in the server. Much of the same stuff that I had to implement, say, for Henko. Okay, so now we have the ability to skip font family generation, which is great. So we should be able to do this. Do we have a transform test? We do not. Okay, I think. Do we really not? Okay, we should be able to test this here. Maybe not. Well, let's assume that's going to work. So we will basically just have to document it. Oh, it's not font family generation. It should be font face generation, right? So what we're skipping is the generation of the CSS rule corresponding to a particular font family. Okay, I think that seems like a reasonable. Hey, Michael, that seems like a reasonable feature to add. Give an example, well-brained, of what exactly you mean. Like, what do you mean if it's multiple? Oops. Okay. Get config. I'm getting faster at this. Okay. Ugh. Right. Yeah, if you can give me some more context or a link to a gist or something, I will very happily take a look at that, because I'm sure we could figure out what the issue is. Right. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. So that's fine. Okay. So where's Fontaine itself? Right. Now I have a very, very exciting pull request that I'm quite keen to review, which is size adjust metric calculation. And I have taken far too long to review it. Look, this was pushed on May, so it's just over a month, and I am honestly embarrassed about that, but let's see. Let's push this up for now. I am actually really pleased with the Nuxt ecosystem at the moment. There are some phenomenal contributors who are doing really, really good things, and I'm very pleased at what is happening. So I'm just saying that. I am very pleased. Like genuinely, I go and I check out the Nuxt pull requests, and there's just good stuff happening. Like good stuff happening. I go, and someone has already opened a new pull request. Like look at all these nice green review approvals. It is a phenomenal thing. I'm really, really quite happy. You have 3 rules: images, API, and files. So you should be able to have nested ones. But it's possible if one of them is a proxy that it will override. So that's worth. I'm not sure about that. Why is this not working? Right. Okay. So now we need to check out this. Oh. Need to check out this. That should be fine. I don't see why that shouldn't work. If you do, that should work. So root rules pre-render true will work, but it won't add them to the list to generate, because it doesn't have enough information to know which specific roots to generate. It just knows that the thank you for this. It just knows that that anything can be pre-rendered, but it still needs to have a root to start. So if you give it, a slash root, then it will start crawling them for you. Get hub CLI, and please, I would like to install it on Linux. Right, and we want to check out this PR 181. There's also an interesting pull request review feature in is it GitLens, or is it just the GitHub integration? There it is. This. Which is actually just as good. Maybe even better, because it allows you to pull requests. Pull requests. View. There we go. And you can just click it and select it there. Well, Brained, is it possible that the proxy URL isn't defined or something like that? Because it will be snapshotted at build time and included in the code, I believe. Okay, so right, here we are. So we've got the, oh, can I check this out? Check out pull request. Okay, so we have got a very, very, very nice pull request, which was initially made to me on Discord, and I just have not properly reviewed it. Okay, so the feature set is, okay, there are a lot of changes to things that are not essential here, but basically the, okay, yeah, logging it is fine. Actually seems very straightforward. Where are we getting the details? We have no new imports. Basically, the metrics that we use to calculate these, like the size adjust, are coming from the metrics that are being distributed from Capsize, which is a phenomenal project. So okay, so this is actually very reasonable. Let me just run the update. I want to update the end-to-end test, so I'm just going to update the snapshots. Okay, right. So we probably do need to change it so it's not a capital fallback. As that, not that that's not a bad change, but it's just different from the previous behavior. So we can make it lowercase and rerun it. So I'm so excited about this. Okay, so we basically have our CSS change. This is probably shouldn't be undefined. Okay. And this is giving us, is this accurate? Size adjust. So it's a lot of changes. Let's see. The inter, was this there at all? Oh, I guess, is this entirely new? This is the problem with the playground being different, that it makes it hard to compare the unit tests. So why is it different? If I swap it back to what it was before, and we rerun the tests, then we should see maybe something that's going to be more useful for us. So we have a Poppins variant fallback, Seago UI. Why that? Oh, we've set the default, oh, the Vite config. Right, okay, let me just change that. So that's test Vite config. We'll probably want to update these in a second back to the PR changes. because there's probably a good reason for the change, that we're trying to test the effect of multiple fonts. But for now, I just want to review it. So I want to see the difference that it makes to the existing test suite. Okay, so perfect. So we see that basically we now have the size adjust. We now have an ascent, descent, line gap override, which are all slightly different. And okay, that all looks good. What kinds of changes here? Is this just an indentation change? No, there's more. Let's see. If I made that. I see that there are different fonts being used. And one of them is Inter. Well, let's support that. Let's have an extra font called Inter. I see. Okay, I'm beginning to understand a little bit more about the kinds of changes and why. But let's see what the playground does if I open that up. No, totally understand. It's tricky to. Okay. Ooh, that is nice. Like, that is just beautiful. Like, if you look at the. Come on, what is my browser doing? Okay, that is just lovely. And now if I were to open up with I think I've done that one. If I were to open up with another, what did this look like previously? Okay, just save it as whip. I know, I bet if someone were some nasty person were out there trying to do something, steal our Git credentials or whatever, all they would have to do is interesting. It's a nice concept. Okay, so if I check out the main branch again, and run the demo. Okay, you see that there is a line, I don't know if you can see this, but there is actually this word, periata, there is on the same line, and then it moves to the next one, so there's this bit of a jump. Whereas when we go to the PR, and we run the same, we have to restart it, I guess, run the same thing, what? Okay, it shouldn't do that. Right, what is going on here? Commit, undo last commit. Hey, welcome. It is nice to have you here. It's not that late, honestly. Okay, so we do need to confirm this. Like, this shouldn't be undefined. It should respect it. That's something we need to fix. This all looks good, although for some reason I'm struggling with to get the demo to work. What do I need to do here? Prepare? Should just work, right? npm demo should just work. Oh, well, what's making me think it's not working? Let's just check our font rules. So we've got our network, and I want to see some CSS, and our CSS is fine. Is this because I've not built it? No, there's some fallback. There's some size adjust data. Okay, so it is coming through. Maybe because it's not inlined. That's the only thing I can think of. So there's a very slight change. Very slight, but there's still a wrap that's taking place. If I commit that again, and we check out main once more, you should see that looks very close to the same thing. Why is there still a size adjust? There really should not be a size adjust at all. So I think, and this is clearly still the same code. I'm so confused. Maybe it's to do with a pull request. Maybe as far as it's concerned, I'm still, check out branch. I'm really not sure what's happening. This really looks like, okay, what's my log? That's right. Okay, so remove. Maybe it's caching the transform. That's the only thing I can think of. Okay, so remove playground node modules Vite. Okay, let's try this once more. Let's see. It's still logging them. But I'm pretty sure there's nothing here that should be logging anything. So this is somehow still using some kind of cache. Of the CSS, you think? That's a very good shout, maybe. Although I do have the disable cache thing checked, and the log, it's logging stuff, and those logs are not from this branch. It shouldn't be logging anything. That is the very confusing thing to me. Unless you're saying the CSS is somehow cached somewhere else. Okay, so he's logging it. See, we don't log anything here. We should not be logging anything, and it's being logged out. This is so weird. So weird. I'm sorry, I need to create that. This is what it is. It's a keychron Q5 QMK. And it is very nice, to be fair. This thing. I am so confused. Honestly, like, this is not the thing that is meant to stop you. It's meant to be hard code, like difficult. Are we in the right folder and right? You are right to ask that. You are very right to ask that. Let's see, how does the pull requests view work? So pull requests, let's see. So I think, I don't think, because like the thing is, I'm running this from the command line. I can see in my log that there is, well, let's see, get status. Okay, so there's nothing there. I can see in my get log that there are no commits. Like, this is the latest commit that we made to the branch, right? And yet, when I run, for goodness sake, I'm just going to clone this fresh. Git clone Daniel row fontaine. Oh, for goodness sake. That is a very good possibility. Okay, and PNPM demo. I wonder if it's the build. That's a good point. That's probably what it is. It's not the Vite demo, it's the build of the fontaine itself. Okay, let's try that. Clearly it's been a long time since I've looked at this project. Okay, so there we are. We have a build. Let's look at the demo. Yes, okay, that is what it's doing at the moment. So there's a lot more wrapping basically that's going on. So the line height is right. You can see the line height. So the top bit here is the same, but there's a lot of wrapping. And that is what the size adjust PR fixes for us. So switching to the PR, again, if we build and demo it, we should see that, again, there's just one line. It's not a perfect fix, but it is actually a huge fix. Why has it taken me 1 month to review this? Like, that is just a different level of reduction in terms of layout shift. Okay, so I think what we can do is basically make a couple of commits here. So first, we're going to reduce sort of breaking changes. Fallback name. Oops, for goodness sake. Then let's figure out why we are producing an undefined font family here. So thank you, by the way, Rob. You got me there. So ask me for a beer sometime and it will be yours. Okay, so we're generating font family in our generate font face. And this was something that obviously changed in the pull request. So let's see what changed. All the logs are probably useful in terms of the code. So if we were to update this, so there's a second possibility for a yes, I can. Like between the two. Sorry, let me quickly go up and have a look at that gist. So dev proxy, images, files. Is the difference that you don't have a change origin, maybe? Like, have you tried configuring some of that? Okay. Let's follow up on that. I think if you can get a little stackplets, or it doesn't have to be a stackplets, but just a GitHub repo, we can have a look. Okay, so here's the demo again, just to show the differences once more. So basically, I will throttle it down to slow, 2G. Now this is with the changes, so it's not even loaded yet. Okay, and it's going to come in as Arial. So you see we've got, this is the height of the text, and now it's swapped it out. And one word went from that line to that line, but overall the change was pretty much identical. So, hey, Chris. Hey, yeah, nice to see you. So that was not a huge change between those two. So I'm just going to basically commit this again, and we'll go back to main, and I'll show you what it is at the moment. Well, I mean, and I guess I can show you what it's like without any transform at all. So without any transform, it's like this. So we'll remove that and basically demo the project. Okay, so without any transform, we're going to load the page. In a moment, the Arial, the basic one, will kick in. Okay, so Times New Roman, it's up here, right? So the bottom is at the very top, and in the moment, it's going to flip, and basically, it's not just that more wrapping is happening, it's actually the height of each line is completely different, and so it's now popped all the way down here. We've lost huge, like 5 lines of text. A difference between those two. Now, if we re-enable Fontaine Transform, and it looks like we need to sort that out, but we'll just restart the demo, and what we should see is something slightly different. Come on, refresh. Okay, so what we have to start with is Arial. So it's up to here, and then it swaps in. So it's about 1 line different. So it was five lines difference, and the current Fontaine plugin makes about 5 lines of difference. It changes 5 to 1 in terms, and that 1 is because of wrapping, not because of line height. And this change, the size adjust change, takes it from 1 line to 0 line to 1 word. So there's no line difference at all. There's just 1 word. So it's a significant improvement. But I hope that made a difference in terms of seeing the changes. Right. Okay. So we have our playground, and let's see why. So clearly there was this, let's change these a little bit so that they are more what this person is wanting to show us. So we want to have inter, copy, well, it's basically inter is font family inter, I think that's what it said. And we probably also want to say, Poppins. I think that's probably H2. We can make Roboto, and then we can specifically go and stick this in the HTML. So it was H2 class is Roboto, and the final div can be inter, or the second div can be inter. Let's run the demo once more. Oh. Let's see what happens. Right, so we should have, like, it will be a bit different in appearance because the second one is a different font. Oh, it's a font that I don't actually have. Right. I'm going to come back to this in just a sec. I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break and grab some fresh water, and we will chat again in a second. So come on, OBS. We'll see you all shortly. Hey, I'm back. Oh, and hey. Okay, so I feel like we're getting there, but there's just this bug to jump into. And maybe it's to do with this inter. That should be inter. Oh, we never specified where to get inter. So that's the one thing that we need to have here. We need to have a font face. I'll see if I can grab it from the actual pull request. Okay. So basically, I'll just add the font face here for enter. Okay, and that should now let me, oops. Hopefully it's, no, I have to rerun it. So sorry, if you're just joining, hello. If you're just joining, so basically we're working on a feature. There we go, it's coming in. A feature for Fontaine, which is a very significant one, that basically enables a massive reduction in layout shift when you are loading a page with custom web fonts. Just look at how beautiful that is. Like that is just, there was almost nothing there in terms of shift on the page. Even though you have custom web fonts, that just feels great from a UI point of view. So we've got, okay, we have the same fallback for each of those. So I think these changes to the playground we can keep. Let's run the tests again. My VS Code is actually Pale Knight Operator, which I do love. It's it's this one here, but the one specifically that you'll get within it is the operator one, which I really like, the sort of italic mix between italic and main, which suits me well. Okay, so we have some changes to. So I'm basically reverting some of the playground stuff. Not much. Oh, the indentation though is nice. I think we can keep that, but it doesn't really matter. But well, just in the interest of not, let's first hide white space differences. There we go. So you can see what's changed here. Yeah, I mean, honestly, these are all good changes. They're fine changes. It just makes it harder to review the PR, that's all. Okay, so draw keep playground more similar to previous. Oh, for goodness sake. Then we have got only the issue of the tests and there's console logs and things in the code too. So this generate font face needs to come back with just the font family and source provided. Why isn't it doing that? And we have, that is in the index. It needs to come back with all of that. And all of these changes are good. Like, I'm happy with this. So we can commit that up here, I think, with the playground change. So just looking then at the transform, oh no, it's the metrics, right? What is it actually? Generate font face. So we have all the same information. Oh, it's the options that we've lost. Fallback metrics, name and font, but we still need to keep the generate options there. Okay, so that makes sense as to why that would be. Oh, and by the way, we can focus on the pull request view and actually see a live diff with main, which is a very, very nice way of doing things, I think, because it means that... Oh, Damogoi. I'm guessing it might be Damogoi, based on your name. Yes, I'm very much looking forward to coming to Lebanon. I'm very much looking forward to that. Let's see. Okay, so we want the generate options. Why did we drop those? Those generate options were name fallbacks. That was above font face metrics. Okay. So why were we ignoring them? Fallback font, name, metrics, options. Okay. So it may be that, so there were a couple of things that we want to include here. I think we'd rather keep it as an options object, but move the metrics in here. And we could say array string or name string metrics font face metrics. I think that's probably everything that we're wanting. So basically metrics becomes, well, let's just check how that's, how did I get involved with Fontaine? Well, I wrote it, but you mean how did I write it? Why did I write it? I wrote it because of a great idea from the Google Aurora team, who had written a paper on particularly I think Katie Hempenius wrote a paper on font metric overrides. And I thought, this is brilliant. We should be able to use this in Nuxt. And so I built a module for Nuxt called Nuxt Font Metrics. And then I thought, but built it in a generic way. And I thought, actually, it would be much better if this were available for anybody, no matter what framework they use. So I extracted it, and that's how it is. And I would love people to use it. Okay, use it more. So when we call generate font face, those are just tests here. Oh, we're iterating. Okay, so that's fine. So we don't need to have generate font face to be called with every with an array. I understand now why. Okay, so we can change this. We can basically say fallback name, metrics, name metrics, and fallback font. Previously we had name and fallbacks. And basically the fallbacks were then mapped. I see. Okay, so what we can do here is basically say fallback metrics. That's fine. So this can become options fallback metrics. This can become options fallback name. This can become options fallback font. And then we have our generate options at this point. And when we are calling generate font face, we basically can pass them in as fallback metrics, second argument was fallback name, so I much prefer an options object in this context because it allows us to be much more expressive about what we're passing in rather than relying on the order. And then finally fallback. The third option was the fallback font. Okay. And do we need the name? Interesting. So previously we had options name, which is not being used. So I think previously the font family was the name. I think, in fact, all of this is fallback details. So I think we can probably clarify this a bit and say that we need the name, we need the font, and we need the metrics and anything else, name, font, and metrics. So we can adjust that to, let's just use our rename. So adjust this to name, adjust this to font, adjust this to metrics, and we'll call this fallback options. Okay. We'll call this just fallback, which I think makes it clearer what's going on here. So now we have the fallback metrics, we have the name, and then we have the font itself. So, okay, I think that's a little clearer as to what's going on. But it also explains why there was this issue here that we were passing name fallbacks and font weight, but we actually now should pass the font as fallback, I think. Which should mean we can then update the, oh, we have an issue. Metrics. We have no metrics being passed for some reason. Fallback metrics. I'm a little confused as to what's going on here. Where is this coming from? This is in... Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there are no metrics, right? So they're not guaranteed to be metrics. I guess that's the issue. I'm passing some random font, name font weight. Oh, I'm not passing in any metric. That's what it is. Metrics. I need to be able to generate something even if there is nothing, I guess. So if there are no metrics, there we go. Beautiful. So what was the change required? I guess the test was wanting to... Should still have font weight bold. Okay, we need to apply the rest of those properties as well. So that's, I think, why I pulled it out. So basically, we pull it out here. So we basically want to have name, font, and metrics. Oh, there's the second metrics. I'm not really sure that this is that beautiful right now, but we're going to make fallback metrics just fallback metrics. And we want to add the properties down here, which allows people to override them as required and should mean that actually this works even if we omit metrics. Does it? No, it fails because we are assuming that there are metrics. So I think actually it might be better to do this. So if there are metrics, we can calculate them, and otherwise we'll just default to a ratio of 1. Should mean that we can run the test. That's unexpected. You're expecting that? It's coming with a lot of calculations. I guess previously we did have some calculations, like an empty. We still were able to calculate some of this stuff. I think a lot of the work here is about API though, because I'm assuming the metrics have got to be right. We can investigate that more easily. Oh right, we have to update some more of the tests. Right, so this needs to pass like a font, I think. It's Arial. And why? The issue here is that we need metrics, I guess. Okay, so the test then is updated to have some specific values. We're still rendering the IBM Plex Mono. That's very much not right. 27,500. All I can assume is that the metrics are very wrong. Tell me where and Merriweather Sands. Oh, yes, you are right. Okay, this is better. This is much better. I didn't spot that was still there. Thank you. Okay, so we have got like size adjust 100%, which is fine. There's no size adjusting going on, basically. Although I am curious as to why there is no size adjusting going on. I think there would be some, but... And there's clearly some size adjusting going on when we have no metrics. Doesn't feel right. I think when we have no metrics, we really should... I think we can basically add like that. Let's try that. Yeah, there we go. So nothing has now changed. So if there's no data, we're not going to do anything. And here we have just got our extra X widths. Again, it's not producing anything different. Okay. But I would think we do want to actually generate some... Okay, so the problem is here, I think, that the fallback font... Oh, the reason there's no different is that we're getting the metrics for the actual font that we want the fallback for, so there's no difference. So what we want, if we want to test this, we want it to be something like, get metrics for family Arial. And do the same down here for that. Okay, that should now update in a second with some actual size adjusts, which is beautiful. Okay. This is all feeling positive. And now we added, I think, a lot more console logs, which is basically just to generate, to show me, I think in the process of reviewing the PR, what was going on. What do you mean it's never used? It is never used. Name. Yeah. And we can rename them as well. fallback name, and then fallback font name, something like that. Sorry, it's so wordy, but I think it's slightly better. And then this is all formatted for us, and some logs are out, and our test is passing. I'm very pleased. Okay, so we're going to say fix, update, move back to single options object. Beautiful. Okay, and push it up. Oh, I do think we want stringify. That's a good point, because otherwise, if the name, for whatever reason, has something strange in it, are people okay if I have a quick cuddle? Scooby-Dooby! The sign was correct, but I have taken... I wanted a cuddle.
Naked baby.
Yes. You've been having a fun time outside.
We were just trying to text Mummy for a cuddle, but I think the signal is failing us.
Yeah.
The signal is failing.
Yeah. My
Now,
phone won't
Neddy, believe it or not, there are people here who are watching us. They're watching me type and do things with fonts. Just strange to say. Do you want to wave to them? You can't see them, but you can wave if you want. No?
I think Daddy is coding.
It's almost time to go away.
It's
Soon,
time.
but not quite yet.
Okay, that was a good cuddle, Neddy. You want to stay? Okay, well, Daddy will return to the people are waving. Hi, Dad Panda. Okay, so where are we? What are we doing?
What's this?
That is the volume control.
Because Riley can do so.
Okay, so I think I'm very happy with this. Push that again. And I think we can merge. I think we can merge this. And basically we're iterating and generating lots of fallback metrics. Okay. This is definitely a breaking change, though. Okay, here we go. Whoa.
No.
No.
Neddy, the text to Mummy has gone through, so she will probably be down for a cuddle soon. She's in.
Oh, what's failed? My stringify has failed for some reason.
Little one.
I did something wrong in the latest commit. Oh, it mismatched, I guess. That's all. It's generating a double quote instead of a single one. Fix. Oops.
I help you, Daddy.
Thank you.
The power button. If you press text it comes to the big button.
There was so much.
I help you.
Thank you. Did help me.
I help you with that.
The volume control. There was so much coding when he was a tiny baby, and there was also quite a lot of podcast listening while pushing the pram. So it's amazing how much time you get when you do that.
It sets fixing. Here's somewhere.
One more
It's
thing.
I'm gonna. The next fixed is that way. It's one of the things I changed it.
What?
Daddy.
Just one thing. Okay. Ping test.
Is that fun?
Is that fun?
Tickle. Mean that.
Oops.
Don't know where is Mommy.
I don't.
Don't know where's
I think this was accidental. Okay.
Mommy.
Oops, that's a not. Okay, Netty Daddy's going to have to do a little bit more work.
But I wonder.
I think Mummy's coming, Nadine. He is texting me just now.
Is Mommy coming?
It's true.
Send her a text for a cuddle.
He's gonna come.
Bye bye. It's true. I just farm out pull request review to Ned. It makes a huge difference. You know, speeds up all of the decisions. What is that? I am pleased. Whoa, I am going to take a look at that. I'm not sure I'm allowed to stream it, but... Oh, you put it together. Okay, so you know what you're talking about. Okay, this is very good. So we have size adjust. And... Oh, we probably should have somehow indicated that was what it was. Ugh. Okay, we have some more examples. What do you mean they don't mix? Ah. Okay, there are some other things we probably could do here. So I have in mind a CLI so that you can actually run it on an existing code base with CSS files or something like that. I think that could be a really useful thing. We've had an open issue for that for some time. So if you do want, you are very welcome to pick that up and implement it, although you don't have to. Yeah, lots and lots of stuff. Okay, I will watch the video. Happy days. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff here. Ah, yes, we did rest. There was a gap. There was definitely a gap. Okay, I want to do a little bit more test coverage, and I want to also try this out in our next module before we release it hard. So, come on. Okay, so we have. Have I somehow? There we go. Oh, it minimized for some reason. Okay, so here it is. Let's release packed version, and we're going to try in the actual module here. Okay, so we're going to swap into our fontaine module, and now we actually depend on an older version of fontaine, but we'll just do it like this and install it. It's going to, as closely as possible, match the experience of installing this from a live like updated npm release. Okay, so I probably everything's going to break to start with, because I think the signature still of that second argument changed. Generate font face. So we now need to do this. So basically for const font of fallbacks or options. Fallbacks. We'll pull that in. And basically it should be come on. Generate option should be, why isn't this updated? Ah, rats. I didn't build it. Must not have built it. Well, then why did it pack it? Having some strange behavior here. A little bit confused as to what is going on, but we need to be able to have fallbacks. Try it one more time. Oh, it installs. For whatever reason, we might just need to restart TypeScript. So basically this should be, I think, something like font name. And then we'll need to get the metrics for the font. So yeah, so what we want weird. Come on, it shouldn't be this. Generate options. We did rename it. Oh no, it should be fallback options. It's still showing up as the old fontaine. Let's just try reload TS server. And if that's not working, we should just check. Whether somehow we're still pulling in a wrong fontaine. I don't think so. It seems like that is what we're pulling in, is this version of fontaine. So yeah, there we go. It was just TypeScript. It was just pulling in the old stuff. So name, font, and metrics. So this is the font. And then we need metrics as well that we've got to pass in. Get font metrics. Well, this is maybe an interesting point, because maybe we should actually be generating them. Okay, so CSS, we're receiving the metrics, but maybe we should just generate them from the font. But it's a synchronous thing. So we want generate font face. We're calling it here. And get metrics for family. And is that exported anywhere? Yes. So we'll just pull that in, get metrics for family. Font. And actually, I think we can definitely say in the source here that metrics can be undefined, because if we don't have the metrics, we just fall back to no metrics. So it's not actually true that we must have it. Okay, but anyway, we're just going to, for the moment, this test bit, we're going to say that we definitely have them. And okay, let's run a test. Okay, what's changed? We have size adjusts. The other thing that we have is lots and lots of copies of the same font face. And actually, this doesn't look right. What's this? Font, oh no, that's fine. We shouldn't generate duplicates, basically, of the same font name and font family. I feel there's something we need to fix here, which is basically when people put their own ones in. It's the issue we started with. Let me just copy this out into CSS so we can actually see what's going on. So if I have a test.css file and I paste this in, can you please format it for me? GitHub, VS Code. Why can we not format this? I'll just paste this in an app.view file. Come on. Format with. There we go. Okay. So we've got, yes. So what's going on is I'm trying out something called Restream so that I can also stream to YouTube at the same time. And it has a way of displaying the chat. So I can just embed it in the, I'm still using exactly the same setup I had apart from piping it through Restream. Okay, so fallback 1 is that Fino, Impact, Georgia, and then we have lots of copies of this. And I think that's because we have such a long list of default fonts. So I think this is actually technically all correct. So I'm happy with that. But I do wonder what our we do also need to implement the other piece of the puzzle, that we have the ability to skip the generation of fonts. And I hope we didn't lose that. So we called it what was it? Skip. What did I change? Oh, that is right. Skip font face generation. And basically, hopefully we still respect that. Yeah, we'll still skip that. And options fallbacks. Yes. Okay, so that's fine. The point being, if we choose to do this manually, we can then skip the automatic transform. So what we would want to do here is we've got the fallbacks that we want to insert. And so what we would do is pass the skip through directly to the transform. So let's see, fix metrics can be omitted, and it's just and pm test. Yep. Okay, that's good. So what we want to do at this point is basically, where were we doing it? All right, this is where we generate it. So we're doing this for our fallbacks, for our particular font fallbacks. Okay, so this is all fine. And then what we want to say is that we have done that for all of our fonts. So here we can pass skip fontaine transform options, please. We should be able to skip some stuff. Where is it? Where is it? Where is this coming from? We have fontaine transform. How strange. Is it not exported? If it's not exported, then we definitely need to do that too. Okay, so transform. And then we export that from here as well. Okay, so we'll skip that for now, but we know that it should be, we receive a font family, and we decide whether or not we want to skip it. Skip font face generation, and we receive the family of the font face. I think that makes sense. Family and source. Okay, so we're basically at this point going to want to say we will skip font face generation if family is in options fonts. So options fonts some font type of is string, font equals family, or font family equals family. And that should mean we don't get the duplicate. So is that going to change anything for us? Ooh, that's not great. What's failed here? Oh, it might be failing because we're importing something that doesn't exist. Is that possible? No. One template script is required. Oh, did I make an empty file? I did. Okay, so we've updated something, which means hopefully we should generate a little bit less code. Yeah, so we've basically pulled out this. Now, which is interesting. It's not quite right, is it? Because, well, ideally we would want to generate this. So we should have a Roboto fallback. Why are we not generating it? So at the moment we're only generating Poppins and then some other ones. So in here, okay, maybe it's not the font family we want to skip. No, it is. Okay, so we're skipping this because do we also need to check? So basically, we only want to skip this if we are injecting the CSS. So, which I guess we're doing here, quite clear. Oh no, if we're inlining it. Yeah, we only want to skip it if we're inlining it. So options inline, and is inline enabled in the playground, or is it enabled by default? Okay, so previously we had this is what we had before. Like this is what was being generated, rightly or wrongly. We'd only generated the fallback ABC, Poppins variant override, and Roboto override. And now we are dropping the Roboto fallback entirely, and we are keeping fallback ABC and Poppins variants. Feels very different. ABC, Poppins variant, Roboto override is missing. So there is definitely something that we have dropped. The fact is, it's changed from override to fallback because that's more accurate. But I think something to do with the skip isn't entirely right. So let's see, let's do some logging. So console log family. And just check what our options are in the playground. So we've got the family is what we're looking at. I think we also we do want to do some kind of transform because we do need to ensure that the fallback is the same. So I think we would want to do two things here. So we would want to say that const family name is so we would want to make sure that both the family name and the fallback name are the same. So return font equals family name and type of font is string, or font come on. If font is not that dot override name equals okay. So in other words, we only want to override this if it is exactly the same as something that has already been generated, and therefore it's not only the font, it's also the override name that matters. In fact, it's not specifically the font at all. It's the override name that really we care about. So skip font face generation for a particular override, for a particular fallback. So in fact, we can probably delete that entirely. Because what we want is for family here to be the override name. That's what we want. And so we should change that. So that would be something we'd need to do up here. So what we would want to do here is the font face generation. We'll call it skip font face generation, but it should be override name or fallback name. Great. And so then we call it with fallback name family. There we go. So that should be right. Let's pack that again. Oh, I probably actually need to go. It's been a good day. I really appreciate everyone helping me do this. It's been a while. It's been a month when I really, really should have been working on that particular PR, which was great, as you all saw. But so get font face generation. Let's reload TS just to check it's right. Yeah, okay. So we basically want to do this. Right, I actually must go. I will finish this off and push it up, and you all should check it out later. That would be very nice if you would. But yes, it has been a great thing. Yeah, thank you. I will talk to you later and do another stream for sure. So, bye.